Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Orphanlast, and today we're going to go ahead and have a tutorial on Perspecive. And so let's go ahead and get this started. This is just a visualization, something that you should use to visualize as you're drawing in Perspective, okay? So this is a representation of you, if this thing will cooperate with me. Cannot paint on this layer. Okay, one second. This is a representation of you, basically right here, okay? This little character right here. And you're standing here and you're looking right at this square right here. Now, yeah, this square right here, okay? Now, all this stuff, the picture plane right here, this doesn't really exist. In fact, this square right here may very well exist if you're drawing from life. Or maybe this square right here, maybe it's just a figment of your imagination. But regardless of if this square right here happens to be a figment of your imagination or not, it's best if you kind of try to picture it like this, where you're standing at a stationary point looking at the image that you're trying to draw, and it is behind the picture plane. Now, the picture plane is basically everything that you're going to be drawing on your picture. And the picture plane can be pretty much any size you want. I mean, it could be this small, it could be as big as this right here. I mean, it's represented as a rectangle. But the thing is that this side can go on forever, this side can go on forever, and so can this side. Even this side, really. But ultimately, the picture plane can be tilted to look up towards the sky. Of course, the horizon line would happen to be at a different angle. The horizon line would have to be moved down if you were to do that. But anyways, the whole point, though, is that before you start drawing a picture, you need to plan out where is your picture plane, which basically means that you need to pick a position, how far away you are from your picture plane, and basically position your head in a specific spot and do not deviate. Like, keep your head in the exact same spot throughout the whole time. In your mind's eye, your head has to be in the same spot the whole time in order to do it. Because, like, let's say you are standing right next to a sheet of glass, okay? Let's go ahead and just pretend just for a moment that you're standing right here, and the picture plane is a sheet of glass, and you have a dry erase marker, and you're drawing this box, okay? If you keep moving your head around, the perspective around the box is going to be changing every time. So you need to make sure that you're always going, like, that you have to make sure that you're standing still the whole time. Otherwise, the image is going to come out weird. So let me show you something. Okay, so this little contraption here, this is a contraption that people have created in order to actually help them make perspective drawings. Basically, they would go ahead and set this down on their table or their desk or something, and they would poke their eye right here, and they would just look right through that little eye hole, and this is basically where the horizon line would be. And they would place objects on here, or they'd look off, depending on how big this tool was, whether this thing was just something that could sit on your desk, or whether or not this was an enormous sheet of glass, and this pole was literally a pole that you stick in the ground or not. Basically, they would, every time that they'd look away from their canvas and back into here, they would wind up seeing the exact same perspective every single time. So, like, if you had like my example of you standing right next to a sheet of glass with the dry erase marker, that would be the equivalent. You would have to stand in the same spot the whole time, not moving your head even an inch throughout the whole process of drawing on this sheet of glass. And so, before you even start drawing an image, you need to have it decided where your picture plane is going to be. Because when you have your picture plane decided, you know where the center of vision is going to be. And knowing how far you are away from the picture plane will help determine where the 45-degree marks are from the center and everything like that. So knowing where the 45 degrees are helps you be able to create quite a bit of different types of objects. Now notice this. As you're looking through here, what's happening in all reality whenever you're drawing perspective, especially when you're drawing from life, is you have these, you're looking at the corners of the object that you're actually drawing, and those corners line up perfectly with the corners of what you're actually drawing. Then the vertical stuff is basically stuff that lines up with the ground line, which is part of the picture plane and is represented by a line where it hits the ground plane. And the ground plane is basically a plane is basically a flat surface, and so the ground plane is basically a never-ending horizontal plane that goes on forever, and it's like that basically. I hope I'm making sense. It's just this flat plane that goes on forever, and it's basically represented as the ground. Okay, and so the ground line is the portion of now, from what I understand, like depending on if you have an aerial view of everything when you're drawing a picture and stuff like that in perspective, there may not always be a ground line. Okay, there may not always be one, but even still, you know, a lot of times you will have a ground line at the very least, at least how I understand it right now. And with the ground line, there's a vantage point that basically comes from the ground, and if you line up where things go from the ground to the vantage point, you can actually see that from the ground line you're able to pull those lines up, and it basically informs you of the width of what your cube needs to be. And then from there you just have a series of horizontal lines that basically meets up a point of intersection to the vanishing point, wherever it may be, and that'll inform you of where everything else needs to go. But anyways, let me go ahead and close out of this, and I do not want to save. That image right there, by the way, will be in the video description of this video, and you'll be able to download it and use it as a reference. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more content that I may need to refer back to with that image, but as for now, that's good enough for now.